Okay, a little bit more on my cork handle repair project. So this is the Daiwa Jaguar that I cleaned, quivertip rod that I cleaned the handle up yesterday, and I've started to fill some of the gaps in the handle. There was like a big ring missing from there. I've already done that, and I'm actually using a slightly different approach today, which is I'm using super glue, and then I'm putting cork dust on top of the super glue, with the idea that when it dries I'm going to sand it down and hopefully get it smoother. So I'm not planning on making this look perfect. I'm really just filling up the worst of the divots. I mean, the main reason why I wanted to do this was for Mark's rod, to just fill that gap where the rings had separated. So I got a fair amount of super glue down there, and then pushed the dust in there. So I've been working my way up. I stopped for a bit because I was getting a bit of a backache actually from doing it, but I'm going to pick it up and do a bit more. Thought this time round I would record it. So what have I got? I've got the rod. I've got a couple of bits of balsa wood here which I bought for making some floats, and I haven't got round to doing it, and I'm not actually sure if I will, but anyway, it's useful to kind of lift it up a bit. I've got my trusty foil tray, and in the corner I've dropped some cork dust. So this is the same stuff that I ground down the other day. So this stuff. And I've got some super glue. This is some kind of industrial stuff which I bought online, I think from eBay, and it's actually cheaper unless you buy the real cheap stuff. But what I like about this is you can reseal it and keep on using it, so that works better than those one-shot little tubes. And I've got a wooden stick. I've purposely like a little spatula. This is definitely a stirrer from a coffee store of some description. It could be from anywhere. Got a feeling it might be a Starbucks one. The reason why I chose this one is because this one's a little bit narrower. Just makes it a little bit easier, I think, because I'm pressing and bending. So I'll sort of show how I'm doing this. Hopefully this will come out reasonably well on camera. I'm going to bring it forward a little bit, tip it over. Hopefully that's got it in view. I'm going to stand up, just have a quick look through the viewfinder. That kind of looks alright. Put my glasses on. So what have we got? So this here, I think on the original rod, remember, older rod, must be, it's got the sliding reel fittings. I reckon originally this had cork filler in it, you know, like the in the UK I know that the Brummer brand is really popular for wood filler. I remember even using it when I was at school in woodworking lessons. Over a period of time I think it shrinks and it drops out. I think like in some of these you can still see the remnants in there. So what I've not tried to dig the remnants out, by the way. I'm literally just blobber glue and filling it up. So some of these little gaps I'm gonna fill up. So kind of show you the way that I'm doing it. So the bit that I'm working on is facing up because I don't want it to gravity. I want to be on my side. Super glue, and I am literally got a air bubble every time, putting a little bit in. I'm doing like little bits. I'm not trying to do the whole thing, whether it's super glue. This industrial strength, I don't know whether it's because it's a little bit older or whatever, industrial grade I should say. Super glue is super glue. I don't think there's much in the way of strengths. Seems to take a little bit harder to harden off than some of the other stuff that I've used, you know, like just the regular shop bought stuff. That might just be coincidence, might be because of the age, I don't know. But it does give a little bit of extra time to kind of do something. So what am I doing? Got my little spatula. I'm literally picking a bit up on the end of it. My little spatula, my little wooden stirrer, and then I am just literally pouring it on, tamping it down, and then I'm just repeating the process. Some cases I'm picking up bigger pieces, Some cases I'm picking up smaller pieces. Don't think it matters. Yeah. Why super glue? Well, because somebody sort of posted online with a bit of advice, which was super glue is easier to sand because it dries pretty hard. I mean, it dries hard and brittle, but it dries harder. So I thought that sounds like a good idea to try it, so that's what I'm doing. I mean, it seems to be okay, so I'm literally piling it on, pushing it down into the gaps, trying not to pull it back out again. I am also aware that if I need to, I can kind of put some more in, and yeah, we'll just sort of leave it, and then just go on to the next piece, right? So these are the pieces that I've done previously. They feel like the glue's started to go off and harden up a bit, so I think I'm going to leave it a good hour or so rather than assume that it's going to be hardened off within 5 minutes like most super glue would be. But again, just put a little blob in, so it's a bit time consuming, but you know, I'm a fisherman, so it always implies that I'm going to have patience, and it's okay. I've got to repeat this several times and also see whether or not this approach of using the super glue over using the PVA glue mixture, whether or not that works better or works worse, and I won't know until I try, even if I am experimenting on somebody else's rod. So keep on going round. There's a hole there, I'm going to do that close to the trim ring at the end. I'm actually going to tidy this rod up for my friend Mark, as well as doing the handle. I'm going to just run a thin layer of epoxy thread finish over most of the whippings. It looks to me like the whippings were originally done with some kind of varnish rather than epoxy. I mean, it's of a generation where that could well be, and the reason is because I can see it's starting to, I can't show on camera because if I'm waving the rod around then I'm going to lose the glue or lose something, so you have to believe me, but it looks as though the whippings are made of varnish because they've gone sort of a yellowy tinge through age, and I think that's a bit of a sign that it's sort of varnish rather than being epoxy, which I think has a longer shelf life. It's staying clear, and also the finish isn't particularly built up either. Okay, so that's it really. I'm going to work my way down the rod and probably do another 3 or 4 sessions just to get the worst of it out. I'll leave it to harden off, and then I'll sort of do the next stage, which is going to be to just clean the rod up, sanding it down, and then I'll finish it, because you know the whole purpose of this was really to do the cork handle rather than sort of a bit of a restoration while keeping it original.